Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar session, What's New in O3? First, I'll go over our safety moment, and then I'll introduce Colin, and then he will begin the presentation on what's new. We'll have a brief question and answer session after the presentation via our chat feature on our website at www.o3.solutions. And every registered attendee will receive a copy of today's presentation slides and a link to the recording via email within 2 business days. We will also post today's webinar recording on our website, along with previously recorded events that you might want to check out in our education library. So today's safety moment is on backyard grills, as grilling out is a popular way of cooking right now, but comes with that are plenty of accidents. So the stats on it are about 7 out of every 10 adults in the US have a grill or smoker, which means there's an increased risk of home fires. And from 2014 to 2018, fire departments went to an annual average of 8,900 home fires involving grills, hibachis, or barbecues per year, including 3,900 structure fires and 4,900 outside or unclassified fires. So some important safety tips to keep in mind is that when using propane and charcoal barbecue grills, should only be used outdoors. The grills should always be placed well away from the home, deck railings, and out from under eaves and overhanging branches. Keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from the grill area, and keep your grill clean by removing grease or fat buildup from the grills and trays below the grill. So today's safety moment is on backyard grills. Grilling out is obviously a popular way of cooking right now, but so are the accidents associated with them. Some stats are that 7 out of every 10 adults in the US have a grill or smoker, which means there's an increased risk of home fires. And from 2014 to 2018, fire departments went to an annual average of 89 home fires involving grills, hibachis, or barbecues per year, including 3,900 structure fires and 4,900 outside or unclassified fires. So some important safety tips to keep in mind are that propane and charcoal barbecue grills should only be used outdoors. The grills should be placed well away from the home, deck railings, and out from under eaves and overhanging branches. You should always keep children and pets at least 3 feet away from the grill area, and then keep your grill clean by removing grease or fat buildup from the grills and in trays below the grill. And never leave your grill unattended. Always make sure your gas grill lid is open before lighting it. And then some of these sound obvious, but you can never be too careful with any type of fire source. So just remember to always stay safe. So now I'd like to take a moment to introduce our speaker. Colin is the Associate Product Manager here at O3. He manages designing and prioritizing features to be built into our product. So thanks for joining us today, Colin, and sharing the latest and greatest features within O3 and how it can be used to benefit construction. So at this time, I'll turn the presentation over to you.
Thank you, Tori. So just to start off with a quick overview, so what do we do here at O3? At O3, we provide agile project management software for industrial construction, and we support a range of approaches from basic course and task management all the way through full AWP support. For our most basic offering on course, we provide training and education management to manage courses across complicated stakeholder groups. And on task, we add on this to provide project-wide task management with goal and Kanban board tracking. And on track, we provide modern project management. So this goes beyond just tasks. We track and manage risks, mechanical equipment, RFIs, and other common processes. And on pace, we start to provide work packaging for the job site. So this is both work package management for work-based planning, but also for AWP implementations during construction. And then this rolls up into our on-plan offering, which is AWP standardization for the entire organization from concept through commissioning. We provide 2 mobile apps in order to track this overall functionality. So our on tools functionality tracks the productivity changes associated with implementing our different offerings. And then on target also lets you look at the safety impact in order to manage at-risk behaviors. And today we'll be discussing some changes that affect all 7 of these modules. So we have some detailed experiences in the industrial construction industry, and we're a really scalable solution. We've been implemented on everything from multi-billion-dollar mega projects to low million-dollar portfolio projects, and from one-off projects in operating facilities, and from basic task management all the way through full early AWP implementation. Throughout these implementations, we've consistently heard 4 things about what really makes us stand out. First, as a modern SaaS platform, O3 is cloud-based and accessible from anywhere in the world, and most importantly, easy to configure. This makes it easy to work and collaborate, and especially as more and more of our work moves remote and online in this day and age. This is a really great differentiating factor. O3 also provides in-depth work package management and automated workflows that limit the manual effort. And with that, there's true constraint and approval management to make sure that blocking items are identified and removed before they can delay work in the field. Beyond this, O3 is scalable across project types. With customizable roles and permissions and multi-contractor support, it's easy to control what and which data a stakeholder and user will be able to access. With multi-project support, these same stakeholders can coordinate across projects in an entire portfolio. Finally, with a web-based interface and new releases every 2 weeks, client input is quickly turned around and is in fact a source of inspiration for many of the items that I'll be showing today. So if you've been to our previous webinars, you may be used to the client and persona-focused webinars, but today we'll be kicking off a new series called What's New in O3. At O3, we address client feedback and planned work towards our vision in those 2-week cycles and provide those improvements to everyone. So we want to set some time aside each quarter to focus on the product and what's new in our technology. Our other series of real-world examples and implementations will continue in the alternating months. Today we'll be discussing 6 of the newest improvements to O3 and why they matter. So the first we'll be talking about is RFIs, so going through and managing and resolving any open questions that might block a package. On team board improvements, we've made some changes to make managing tasks elegant and seamless to make it easy to do on your project. We added in learning path improvements to manage the required learnings and certifications and take any corrective steps that are needed. We've added in material constraint analysis to consolidate and manage those material constraints. We've added in manpower tracking improvements to help manage headcount across stakeholders. And finally, we added in deliverables for when not everything is ready to start at the start of a work package and its creation. So starting off first with RFIs. RFIs is one of the areas where client feedback is directly incorporated to improve the product. Some of the pain points that we heard around RFIs were that they're one of the biggest holdups on job sites and one of the biggest sources of delays. And part of the reason of this is that the manual process that's usually implemented is very difficult to track. Once an email with an RFI is sent, the workplace planner is going to need to follow up and ping the company contact and the engineer to figure out their status and timeline. With that, it's also difficult to know when responses will come and where the items are in the process without manual follow-up and frequent pinging. And even if this data does exist, it's usually in Excel spreadsheets that are irregularly updated. So it's tough to stay in the loop on the entire process. So in order to go in and solve this, a true solution really needs to solve all of these items here. So for the workplace planner requesting information, they need to be able to quickly and easily create a new request. They need to have up-to-date information on the process throughout the process. And they need alerts and notifications to drive the process through completion. And these really shouldn't be a manual effort. They should just happen automatically. For the contacts and engineers answering requests, they should be able to organize their incoming requests. They should understand urgency and priority, and they should be able to quickly and document and communicate their resolutions so that they can go through and update any items that need to be updated as a result. And for all stakeholders, we should have easy visibility into the process and trends so that we can improve our collaboration together. So our solution is the RFI action. So when a workplace planner has a question, they can create it as an RFI and note a company contact if they know them already. Once submitted, the company contact is notified and picks up the request. From here, the company contact can recommend a resolution and close it or forward it to engineering for further response. And with that, they can also provide a reason as needed. If they're ready to resolve without forwarding to engineering, they also have that option. From here, the engineer can then provide a detailed response. And if any detailed document revisions are needed, they can denote that as well. They can provide a final determination and recommendation. But no matter the resolution, the company contact and workplace planner can then get to review the response and make sure that they have all the information they need before signing off. All the steps in this process include alerts and notifications to keep the users aware. And the team can then report on the process after the fact to easily see bulk status and where they as a team need to improve. So the next thing where we made some major improvements are around team boards. So managing tasks across a complicated stakeholder structure can often be difficult. This is often done in an Excel sheet, and that often fails to stay up to date. Alerts and notifications come in frequent meetings or manual emails, leaving a lot to be desired in terms of efficiency. In order to address this, we rolled out team board functionality earlier this year. We were eager to get it into the hands of our clients for immediate feedback, and we got a lot of positive feedback and a lot of usage. So in order to make it even better, we decided to revisit it to make it easier to use and more elegant to help drive our users to actions. So outside of solving the basic problem of consolidating your tasks, we really want to make it a pleasure to manage your actions. We want to manage that flow seamlessly, and our end goal is to move action tracking from a chore that is manually handled in Excel and other tools to a flow that encourages your team to get things done in ours. So in order to do this, we added in a task detail flyout so that you can see and manage your task list, but also make quick edits straight from the same screen. We added in a quick add to listed card views to allow you to work and collaborate directly in the team board's workspace, and added a quick complete for when you want to just check something off your list. And as you can see, it even includes a small animation to congratulate you for doing it. And finally, we added nested subtasks within the list so that you can quickly see what goes into a task if you ever need to see more detail. And as a result of rolling out these items, we've really seen some market improvements. Usage of team boards has increased by over 150%, with more than 2,000 users in the past 30 days. And with that, we've also seen user satisfaction increase by 20%. So the extra bit and extra work that we put into elegance and ease of use, we're really seeing have a really positive effect on the overall experience of our customers and users. So next up, we have learning paths, so tracking and pushing some of the certifications. So for many of our customers, they may have learning management systems for their individual companies, but these really fall short of solving their needs on a project. The biggest reason for this is that they're often restricted by company, which doesn't work for a project with contractors and subcontractors. It's also difficult to store and track the onboarding trainings and certifications that are needed on a job site. As a result, our clients frequently fall back on Excel sheets, which fail to stay up to date and are difficult to manage. So for this to be solved, our training coordinators should be able to easily track trainings. They need to be able to see who is trained and certified in what, and they need to be able to sign employees up for classes or a series of classes whenever they're under-certified or under-trained in order to address those needs. They need to be able to track completion of those courses, and of course, users who need to sign up for classes should have the option to do so. So what did we add to O3? The first thing we added was the ability to track training certifications as part of our training module. So certifications can be imported and tracked at a user level, including certification levels, validity dates, and expirations. And when users are short on the training or need additional training, we can sign them up to learning paths where they can rectify those deficiencies. These are a series of courses that are grouped into tiers with requirements to complete courses by a certain date. Training coordinators can then report on the learning path requirements and completion to make sure that the training gets done. And to date, the tracking and training of more than 10,000 users has been tracked in O3. So this is an improvement on our already popular area of our solution. And I think this is going to be a really big impact for a lot of you on the call today. Next up, moving on to materials and constraint analysis. So for clients and projects with multiple stakeholders, managing material constraints has historically been a challenge. There's a lot of great materials management software out there, but on a large project with limited budget or just a project with multiple contractors, it's often difficult to coordinate the different software offerings that different contractors are using. And just due to the cost of these solutions, not all stakeholders have software available. So some are left managing their materials in Excel. As a result, it's often difficult to know when material will become an issue. And it's difficult to manage these constraints, so it causes a lot of delays on job sites. So in order to solve this solution, work-phase planners really need to be able to view any blocking material constraints at a glance. They need to be able to understand shorts and know how to respond. And the overall project stakeholders should also be able to understand the overall process of this material constraint management and know when materials will become an issue on their project so that they can proactively manage these and prevent them from ever becoming major issues. So O3 already provides an integration with materials management systems where they exist to track constraints. So you can gather these constraints from different systems and manage them in a single system with alerts, notifications, and reporting. But outside of this, we've added in material constraints analysis. So IWP material requirements can be added to each IWP to generate demand information. Users can then upload and store project material inventory or inventories by data source if there are multiple on the project. A nightly constraint analysis will then run to soft allocate materials by planned start date of the IWP and warn the users whenever there are shorts and maybe any issues. They can also handle updates to inventory through segregated import by data source to keep everything up to date and manage process across managed contractors. As a result, all users on the project can track and manage their material constraints to give stakeholders visibility and one less issue to manually manage. And for the users tracking these, it's a lot easier to manage them when you have a robust constraint management system that handles the constraints and handles the alerts, notifications, and reporting that you need to truly manage. Moving on to manpower tracking requirements. We found that stakeholders need to know which their personnel availability and also the need for personnel across different work packages. So right now, this involves, for many stakeholders out there in the industry, this involves manually combining manpower schedules from different contractors and subcontractors, and then manually comparing this against IWPs that might have shifting requirements. So you need to do that on a regular basis. This is difficult and time consuming to understand week by week. And it's tough to check if your planned manpower and scheduled manpower will line up by trade and project wide. So for this to be solved, project managers and construction managers should have one place to quickly view schedules of upcoming weeks to make sure that their planned manpower meets their needs. This should allow them to make sure that they're not exceeding any maximums. So for instance, if you have a bed limit on an offshore platform, and should also make sure that the manpower is of the necessary trade to execute the IWP schedule as planned. So our solution is spread out across a couple of charts, but they allow you to go and get all of the reporting that you need straight from one dashboard. So we have an IWP manpower hours charts where you can gather all of the needed trade hours across the IWP. And all of these manpower charts you can group by discipline, manpower type, contract, and more in order to filter these down to the subset that you need. The IWP manpower quantities chart lets you get a similar view, but by head count. So this is going to be useful for seeing if the need is going to exceed the number of beds available. And then we also have manpower curves for resources, both by manpower chart and then also overall on the project in order to consolidate all of that information. And then we have that same reporting on IWP construction equipment as well to understand all of your resource demands. So with all of these features, our users are set up to create dashboards to understand current supply and demand of personnel and resources in order to really proactively manage their project. And it removes a lot of the manual effort that goes into doing that currently. On the deliverables side, in a perfect world, all necessary documents for the creation of an IWP are just going to be magically available at the time of initial development. But unfortunately, some documents are not available until partway through an IWP's lifecycle. So what we really need here is a way to track these expectations. It's right now they're difficult to track. There's no standard tracking, notification, and reporting to really manage that process. So in order to succeed, work-phase planners should have one location to understand what is still needed for the package. Responsible users for the expected documents should know and be reminded of the need. And all users should be able to easily access the information once it's provided so that they can use it both in the IWP development and also once it's released to the field. So to provide the solution, we added a new action type called Deliverables, where work-phase planners can add their expectations for future documents. Once assigned, these actions will provide alerts and email notifications to ensure that they're handled. And when the assignee is ready, they can provide either a link to the document or even directly attach it to make sure that it's accessible to all relevant stakeholders on the parent package. And as always, O3 will provide reporting on the process to ensure its health and make sure that we're doing everything we can to continuously improve. So thank you for joining us today and learning about the exciting new capabilities that O3 has to offer. We're excited to continue to roll out these exciting capabilities to our new and existing customers. And today we covered RFIs for managing and resolving any open questions that might exist on your project, team board improvements for managing all of your tasks elegantly and seamlessly, learning path improvements to manage any required learnings that you might have and rectify any issues, material constraint analysis to consolidate and manage your material constraints thoroughly in one place, manpower tracking improvements to help manage headcount across your different stakeholders, and then deliverables for when not everything is ready at the start of work package creation. All of these features add to O3's existing toolset to further allow our clients to manage complex challenges across project stakeholders, bring elegance, visibility, and notifications to common processes, and consolidate information with relevant reporting to help you manage your project. And with that, I'll turn you back over to Tori for some questions, and for any questions that may have come up during the presentation.
Thanks, Colin, for your presentation. So right now, Colin's currently manning the chat feature on our website at www.o3.solutions, and he'll be there answering all of your questions. So please feel free to submit anytime today and this afternoon. And we did have a few questions come over to Colin during the presentation, so let's just get right to it. So first question, Colin, for RFIs, what if you submit a question but aren't sure if the person that needs to answer is set up in O3?
That's a good question, Tori. And the first thing that I'll mention is that O3 operates under an unlimited user license model. So this really should never be a limiting factor on who makes it into the tool. And additionally, we have contract-based data restrictions, so we can provide access to any outside stakeholders or stakeholders who can only see part of the view. So anyone who needs to be in the tool really should be by default. But if you're not sure who to assign your RFI to, you can look up and filter by position, company, and more to make sure that you get your request handled.
Excellent. Okay, so next question we've got here is, do learning paths come preset or can you customize them based on need?
So for the training for O3 itself, our project managers are going to provide a standard implementation, and part of that includes training and a train the trainer model to get both your team up to speed and also make it easy to train any users that might come on board afterwards. And with that, these trainings are pretty quick and easy. We're a modern software application, so you can get up to speed exceedingly quickly. And then even in-depth trainings are just a matter of hours. With that, if you have any learning paths or any trainings that you want to track that are company specific, these are really easy to configure through the UI. So usually for your standard workplace planning training or your just basic onboarding job training. We usually find that customers will go in and set them up themselves, and it's just a matter of a couple clicks in the training section.
Okay, and we'll go with one more question here. Are there other views in team boards outside of list and card view?
Yeah, so overall, we have 5 different views in team boards. So list view, which you mentioned, really is really intended as an easy way to get a clean view of your tasks and make it easy to brainstorm ideas with that quick add at the bottom. Card view is more where you'd go to execute and quickly see the status. But on top of these two, we have our calendar and Gantt views. So you can see a more date-based view of your tasks, either overlaid over a calendar or over a Gantt chart. And then if you need any powerful searching or grouping, we have our grid view. So you can go through and provide customized filters and ors. You can search any of the columns, and you can really get that powerful drill down that you need in order to close out our team boards offering.
Okay, great. So that looks like all the time we have for any questions that came in during the presentation. But again, please contact us if you'd like more information or have other questions, because Colin will be available today on our chat feature on our website, so you can go there and submit any questions you may have. And I'd like to thank Colin again, and thank you to everyone who was able to join us today. And as a reminder, you'll receive a recording and the final presentation slides in the next couple days. And we invite you to join us for our next monthly webinar. It'll be on true work package management, and that will be on Wednesday, September 26th at 11 a.m. And we appreciate your time and hope you have a wonderful remainder of your day. And thanks again for watching. We hope you enjoyed it and learned some valuable information.